this fascinating book. We went to a conference about it. I figured out that I could use all that information as a classroom teacher, and in fact eventually did. But the only kind of training available at that time, which was in the late 60s, was training for therapists and how to use that tool. And so I rather accidentally changed from a school teacher, a science teacher in fact, to a psychotherapist. And what I have done ever since then is follow what interested me. So as I became a psychotherapist and a trainer in transactional analysis, then what happened is I was training business people. And I had one particularly very, very bright consultant, and we made a deal that if I would train him in transactional analysis in the business, for the business world, he would train me in how to be a consultant. So I learned how to be a consultant that way. Along the way, what I discovered is the work that I was doing with people in non-clinical settings was so very important that I did it more and more, taught teachers and business people and moms, dads too, how to use these tools. And the more I taught them, the more things I encountered, the more I learned, and it just kept growing that way. Then the field of coaching came along, and all of a sudden I discovered I had been a coach for 30 years, but the word hadn't been invented yet. So there I was as a coach. And along the way I have been absolutely blessed to be invited to teach all over the U.S. and I think in 11 or 12 different countries. Had a wonderful time, and I never, ever could have planned it or predicted it.
Very interesting. Thank you for sharing that. Actually, believe it or not, Dr. Laurie, I feel that everything is a game. It's funny that you mentioned those concepts, but I believe that everything is a game, including every profession, including the government, including everything that human beings do, is a game.
I think when Eric Berne wrote the book Games People Play, he meant something a little bit more specific than that. I agree with you. We all play by agreement. We all make rules that we follow. And in order to participate, we have to go by those rules. Like driving in traffic is a game. We know what the rules are, and we have to follow them.
Correct. Rules and tools. And when people don't know what the rules and tools are for the game, it doesn't turn out so good. So I'd like to kind of approach relationships the same way. So what would you say if we both agree, and I think we do, that relationships are just, it's a game people set up? What are the rules and the tools for having a great relationship?
You don't want to know anything very small, do you? I think that's an enormous question. What are the rules and the tools? I'll tell you the one that made the difference to me. I grew up in a culture in this society which is extremely competitive. And what that says is only one person can get what they need at a time, or one group can get what they need in a win-lose situation. And the thing that I learned that was so very, very different is that it doesn't have to be that way. What it can be is we all can learn to count our own needs and the needs of other people when we're doing something. And not only our own needs and the needs of other people, we can also count what's possible in a given situation. And I think if people just learn to do that, that would make a huge difference in the game of having a relationship. Now, there is one other basic thing that I have found destroys a whole lot of relationships. And that is the basic idea that relationships change. They are never the same from one moment to the next, certainly from one month to the next, and definitely not from 1 year to the next. I've been married for 50 years, and my relationship has definitely changed and evolved over that period of time, constantly. And if I was trying to keep it the same, as many couples are doing, it would not have lasted